All right, in this video, we're going to look at the noble gas configuration worksheet. So the front side of this worksheet asks us to take the configuration and then identify the element. So let's look at our first one. It's telling us that we're starting at neon, and we have 3s2, 3p2. So if we go to the periodic table and we look at neon, neon is number 10 here on the periodic table. So we know, assuming that this is a neutral atom, there are 10 electrons, but then we also need to account for the electrons on the 3s2 and the 3p2 orbitals. So there's another 4, so 10 plus 4 is going to mean that we have 14 electrons. And then if I go back to the periodic table, I look for number 14, which is silicon. Okay, let's do the same thing on the next one. We're starting at argon. Argon has 18 electrons. So argon has 18. And then we have 2 and 7, so that's 9. That's going to give us 27. I'm sorry if you get dizzy in this video. 27 is cobalt. Okay, let's look at krypton. Krypton is number 36 here. So 36, and then we are adding 2, 6. So this is going to be 42, and 42 is, 42 on the periodic table is the number, is right here. That is molybdenum. Probably said that wrong. All right. I'm going to go ahead and do one more, flipping back and forth on the periodic table, and then I'm going to just fill in the rest here. I feel like I'm going to make you dizzy if I keep flipping back and forth. So let's look at xenon. So on the periodic table, xenon is 54. And we've got another 2 here. 54 and 2 is 56. And if I go back to the periodic table, number 56 is barium. All right. So for the rest of these, I'm not going to flip back and forth. I'm just going to fill in the answers here. So if I look up, let's see, number 5, helium. Helium is number 2 on the periodic table. And then we're going to add in 5. That's going to give us 7, which is nitrogen. Okay. And neon on the periodic table is 10, I believe. I know I said I wouldn't flip. Don't know everything. Okay, so neon is number 10, and then we are adding 7. So that's 17, which is chlorine. All right, argon we did previously. Argon is 18, and then we're adding 1. It gives us 19, which is potassium. Potassium is one of those weird elements where it's got a letter that doesn't start with the first letter of the name. Okay, next one, we're also doing argon, so 18, and then we've got 2 plus 10, that's 12, plus another 2, that's 14. 18 and 14 is 32, which is germanium. Germanium is Ge. Okay, neon we did previously. Neon was 10, and then we are adding 2, that's 12, which is magnesium. Okay, argon we did previously, that's 18, plus 2 and 9, that's 11. That is 29, which is copper. All right, so for those, my suggestion is to take the noble gas, take the number, the atomic number, and then just add the number of add to it the sum of the exponents. All right, let's go ahead and flip over to the back side here. This is where it gets a little confusing. Okay, so let's look at carbon. So if I were to write out carbon's full electron configuration, it would be 1s2, 2s2, and 2p2. Okay, carbon is number 6 on the periodic table, so I want to make sure that my exponents add up to 6, which they do in this case. Okay, so if I go back to the periodic table, okay, so carbon's number 6. I'm looking at it right here. I'm going to go backwards until I get to a noble gas. And remember, the noble gases are this last column on the periodic table. So carbon is number 6, so I'm going to keep subtracting. So here's boron. I'm going to keep going. So number 4 is beryllium, then lithium. Now I'm going to go to the next row up, but I'm going to go up here. So from lithium, I go to helium. Helium is number 2 on the periodic table, and that's the first noble gas that I hit. So I'm going to write out the electron configuration for helium. Helium's electron configuration is 1s2. Now right here, you can see that my electron configurations overlap. So I've got carbon, and then I have helium here. So they overlap. The chains overlap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to substitute in helium for that part of the chain. It's kind of silly on carbon because it's a short chain, so making the substitution doesn't really save you that much. But still, let's go ahead and make the substitution. So we've got helium. And then what I need to do is I need to fill in the remaining parts of that chain. So I have these two pieces that I need to fill in. So 2s2 and then 2p2. All right, so let's go look at this on the periodic table. So what I did here, so we were at helium. Helium's right here. And I wanted to get to carbon, which is here. So I'm starting here at helium, and I need to kind of pick up where the chain left off. So my chain includes this part right here. So this is 2s2. And then the chain also, to get to carbon, I have to get this part of the p block. So this is 2p2. So anytime you're in the D block or P block, you need to include the pieces that you skipped. So in this case, I skipped this whole piece to get to this part here. So I need to make sure that when I'm writing out my chain, I include the pieces that are kind of in the middle there. All right, let's do another one. Maybe it'll make a little bit more sense. All right, so let's look at aluminum. Let's go back to the periodic table. Let me clear this off. All right, so aluminum is number 13 on the periodic table. So again, I'm going to subtract until I get to a noble gas. So 12, 11, 10. So neon is the first noble gas that I hit when I go backwards. So I'm going to use neon as my starting point. So I'm going to write this out off to the side here. So I've got neon. Okay. So notice that aluminum is in the P block. There's no D block here. But between neon, which is number 10, and aluminum, which is number 13, I have to include this S block that I skipped. Or not skipped, but it's kind of sandwiched between. So let me write that out. So this is the third row. So this is going to be 3s2. And then aluminum is the first part of the P block, so this is going to be 3P1. So let me go fill this in on my chart here. This is going to be neon, 3S2, 3P1. All right, let me go clear this off, and then we'll look at the next one. Okay, calcium. Calcium is number 20 on the periodic table, right here. So I'm going to go backwards. So 20, 19, and then 18. Argon is where we're going to start. So counting from argon, we're going to kind of pick up the chain where it left off. So this is the fourth row, and this is S1, this is S2. So this is going to be 4S2. Because again, we're ending here at the 4S2. There's nothing sandwiched between those. We just kind of picked up the chain where we left off. So this is argon, and then 4S2. All right, let's go look at iron. Iron is number 26 on the periodic table. So going backwards, we've got, keep going here, and argon again is where we're going to pick up. So I've got an S block that is sandwiched between the D block. So I've got argon, and then I have to include this S block that's between the D block and argon. So this is the fourth row. So this is going to be 4S2, and then I'm going to count over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is 3D6. Remember the D block, we kind of, even though this is the fourth row of the periodic table, the D block starts one less. It's a little confusing. All right, so let's go fill that in. So this is argon, 4S2, 3D6. All right, let me clear this off. Okay, so next we're looking at gallium. Gallium on the periodic table is number 31. So let's go backwards. I'm just going to highlight everything that's between gallium and the next noble gas so we don't miss anything. Okay, so the noble gas again is argon. So I'm going to start with argon. Okay, so I have this S block that I need to make sure that I include, and this is the fourth row. So this is going to be 4S2. And then let me use a different color. So I also have this D block, the entire D block that I have to include. Okay, so there are 10 in the D block, so this is going to be 3D10. And then I end up at the first of the P's, so 4P1. All right, let me go put that back in. So gallium is argon, 4S2, 3D10, and 4P1. All right, so next we're looking at bromine. Hopefully after seeing a couple of these, the pattern starts to make sense. It really is just kind of a pattern and a process. Once you do it a bunch of times, it starts to make sense. Okay, so bromine on the periodic table. Bromine is Br. So let me again highlight everything between bromine and the noble gas. Bromine's pretty far to the right, so there's a lot we have to make sure that we hit. So again, we're going to start with argon. Okay, so we've got, from argon, we have an entire S block that we have to include. And then we also have this entire D block that we have to include. Okay, so let's start with the S block. Again, we're in row 4. So this is going to be 4S2. This is the D block. There's 10 in the D block. This is 3D10. And then we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into the P block. Okay, so let me go fill this one in. Bromine is argon, 4s2, 3d10, and 4p5. Okay, let me clear this up. It's not as satisfying erasing on a tablet as it is in person with a physical eraser. All right, let's look at strontium. Strontium is, where are we at? SR right here, number 38. All right, so this one, we just need to go to krypton. Oops. Okay, so let's start with krypton. Superman would not like this one, and we are 1, 2 into that S block. This is the 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the 5th row, so this is going to be 5s2. This one was a little bit easier than the last couple. So krypton, 5s2. Okay. So let me erase. All right, silver. Silver is Ag. Okay, so let's go backwards here. Okay, so we're starting at krypton. We have this entire S block, and this is row 2, 3, 4. This is row 5. So 5s2, because again, the S block is sandwiched between what we're trying to find and the noble gas. So 5s2, and then we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 into this D block. And remember, D is 1 less than the row. So if this is row 5, this is going to be 4D. Okay, so let's fill this one in. This is krypton. 5s2, 4d9. 2 more. All right, this time we're looking at iodine. Iodine is 53 on the periodic table. So let's go backwards, kind of highlight everything between iodine and the next noble gas. Krypton. So let's write that out, krypton. We have this entire S block, and this is row 5. So 5s2. We use a different color. We are going to include the entire D block. So 4d10. And then we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into the P block. Uno mas. Last one is cesium. Pretty sure we did this one in class, but let's do it anyway. Okay, cesium is number 55 on the periodic table. This one's going to be super hard. The previous element is a noble gas, so the only thing we need to do is just kind of pick up where we left off. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is row 6. 6s, and because it's in the first column, it's just 6s1.